I got chills, they're multiplying, and I'm losing control, 'cause the power you're supplying is electrifying.
It's close to the blooming.
Better shape up, 'cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you. You better shape up, you better understand.
Actually, I like that idea. Don't
Yeah,
don't do a
wanna...
complete spin, but try and make your dress kind of
low.
yeah.
Okay. Thing on. Okay, I'm really like not used to middle parting my hair or like semi middle parting it, but we're just gonna go with it, I guess. Like I need to get a little closer to you guys. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm actually in the process of moving right now, so just kind of ignore the background. This is the best lighting I could find in my room right now, so if you're new, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. I hope this video becomes helpful to whoever's watching this, or I hope at least one tip will be helpful for you guys. So if you click the video, you probably may already know that it'll be about how to pose in photos. So basically what I'll be talking about in this video are the different tips and tricks that I've learned just in working with different photographers, or just having friends take my photos, things like that, or if I'm traveling and I want someone to take a photo. Or so anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna grab my laptop and kind of like look through the video that I shot and kind of tell you the tips as I'm watching the video. So yeah, this was actually a photo shoot that me and a photographer did, and it was kind of like a field photo shoot. It definitely had a specific mood and like vibe to it, but in general the poses that I do and the tips that I give you guys kind of apply to multiple scenarios. Sorry, my notes are kind of loading up on here. Okay, so the first tip that I'm going to talk about is your posture. So obviously, no matter what kind of photo you're taking, you want to be able to kind of open up and show that you're confident. Even if you're not confident at first, you never want to have your arms like closed off. You don't want to seem like you're trying to cover up. So like always try and like straighten your shoulders and kind of push them back. And actually, I've noticed that even changing the posture of your shoulders can really change the way a photo looks, whether it's like to the side or it's just opening up. You never want to be like slouching. Also, in terms of posture, like if you're posing for like a full length photo, you want to make sure that your legs are posed kind of cohesively, if that's a word, with your body. So whether it's kind of putting one leg out, or putting one foot in front of the other, you don't want to just like stand straight. I mean, some girls can get away with doing that, so basically you just kind of have to practice and kind of know your angles. A lot of people say fake it till you make it. I'm kind of a believer in that. I feel like at first starting out and like posing, I kind of just didn't know what I was doing, so I just like did a bunch of different poses, but I like owned it. You got to be like confident with it, because your confidence does show through in the photo. Don't be afraid to try new things or different things, because that's really helped me learn like what works and what doesn't. So even if you aren't used to anything and it might not turn out well, it might turn out well, but you never know until you try. So at least experiment. Burst is a great feature on the iPhone where you can get a ton of different angles at one time and then kind of pick your favorites at the end. And obviously you want to make sure that you are communicating to your photographer what you want, but that will be mentioned as a later tip. So another tip that I've learned when it comes to posture is if you're posing sitting down, you kind of want to make sure that your body is flowing and like is in movement. You don't want to be stiff. You want to be like feminine. You want to kind of accentuate your curves, so kind of move your body in like the direction of, so you kind of want to move your body with the angle of your face that you like best. Like I'm sure everybody has like a favorite angle. Like this is my angle, which is why I'm kind of like turned this way right now. I'm wearing a hat in this photo shoot, which is a great prop, which brings me to my next point, and that's using props. It's a huge plus on bettering your pose. If I didn't have this hat or this jacket kind of hanging off my shoulder, the photo probably wouldn't have looked as like organic, or it wouldn't have flowed as well. So you kind of want to make the most of what you have, the most of what you're wearing, and the most of your scenery. Whether you have a cardigan or like a light jacket with you, or maybe a bag, like you want to kind of use that to your advantage and kind of try playing around with it and seeing like what works for you. So angles is another huge thing. You have to know your angles, and I know a million people have probably told you this, or you've seen another video about it, or you've seen an Instagram post about it, but it is crucial. But what I have learned helped me a lot, especially recently, is owning all of my angles, not just one. I think it's crucially important to become comfortable with all of your angles. So practicing that and kind of letting your confidence radiate through will really help you and help you feel more confident. I feel like it has helped me feel more confident. A lot of the times in the past, like a photographer has told me, all right, look this way, and it was like not the best angle of my face, so I'd get really nervous and I'd be like, oh well, this isn't my best angle. But now I just kind of do it and go with the flow. And even if you don't like it at first, just doing it and like getting that feedback, because generally if you're working with a good professional or with a friend, or your boyfriend or girlfriend takes the photo for you, they'll encourage you and be like, oh yeah, that's a bomb photo, you know, like that looks really good. So obviously know your angles, and it's still perfectly okay to pose with, you know, your best angle in mind, but do get comfortable with all of your angles, all of the sides of your face. Moving on from angles, your facial expressions really do matter, and generally it depends on like the mood of the photo. In this photo shoot that I was doing, obviously the mood was like really dreamy, like California, dainty, like field photo vibes. So I made it a point to myself to kind of keep that in mind as I'm taking the photo. I kind of kept in mind to let my face relax and kind of do more like light, dreamy poses, sometimes a little bit of smiley photos. It's important to kind of keep that in mind before taking the photo. So my last point, and I feel like this is probably the most important point when it comes to posing in photos. This is kind of like a general rule of thumb in life, really, is having good communication with your photographer or the person who is taking your photo, whether it's a friend, a boyfriend, etc., your parents. So you wanna, so you want to, sorry, my laptop just like slid off the bed, but so you want to make sure that you communicate to them what you want to achieve. Now, if you're working on a project that you got booked for as a model, or you know, you're doing it for someone else, we can get to that later, but let's say that this is just for you and your personal, you know, benefit, or it's like mutual benefit between you and the photographer. Like, you want to make sure you tell them what you want, show them pictures or examples of what you're kind of looking for, and kind of let them know like where you're comfortable, where you're not comfortable, or you know, if you want to say in the beginning like, hey, this is kind of like the best angle of my face, this is kind of like what I'm comfortable with right now, like, because you want to be able to, you don't want to be able to like drag on the shoot and like not like any of the photos. So you kind of want to like guide them. A lot of the times what I do is ask my boyfriend to like tilt the camera. Well, I can't really show you because I'm filming on my iPhone right now, but I asked him to like kind of take it from like a lower angle, because it always makes me look taller. I feel like it makes me look better. So that's like a thing that I ask for a lot. A lot of people like their photos being taken from like above, But also it's really important that if you are an aspiring model or you just want to do a fun photo shoot, you never want to be like tricked into doing something you aren't comfortable with. So having that open discussion first off, like right off the bat, is crucial. Like before you even meet up with that person or, you know, begin to work with them, you want to make sure you let them know like what you are and aren't comfortable with, because there's a lot of girls that have been tricked into doing like boudoir or however you say it, shoots, or like bikini shoots, and they might have not been comfortable with it at first. And maybe a lot of people know that, but I know that a lot of people don't as well. So it's just important to know your self-worth in general and just say no when it doesn't feel right. Now, if this is a photo shoot for, if you're doing a job or it's for the photographer or it's an idea that they came up with or whatever, then you want to make sure that you are doing what they want you to do. Keep in mind that you came into this job like knowing that this is what you agreed to do. So, you know, a lot of people can get offended if you try and like sway them in their direction. I personally like collaborating with people when two people can have an input, because I'm a creator myself. I don't want it to just be like the other person telling me what to do or whatever. Like it's always kind of been like a collaborative effort. Even if I am getting booked for a paid, you know, modeling job, me and the photographer usually kind of break the ice at first. I tell him kind of how I work and he tells me kind of how he works, and it always ends up being a little bit of like a collaborative effort. So don't be afraid basically to pitch your ideas, but just keep in mind that some people might not take well to that, so that's okay to respect that as well. Some photographers are weird about showing you the photos right off the bat, so sometimes you might have to wait to get the photos. Usually I'll just ask the photographer at the end to like, you know, show me the photos that we got so far, and a lot of the times they'll just show me. They'll be like, oh, this is an awesome shot, like check this out. So at the end I'll kind of like take photos of my favorite on my favorites on my iPhone and send him kind of my favorites at the end, or her, and just be like, hey, like these are kind of my favorites. It's not a big deal if you get all of them done, but these are kind of like what I'm leaning towards. I don't know if I should say anything else. Was that like enough information? If you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments below and I'll literally get back to like all of you. So that is it for today's video. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope at least one of my tips helped you. And I'm actually looking for new ideas to make videos on. So if you guys have any ideas, please leave them in the comments below. And thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.
You better shape up, 'cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you. You better shape up.